Hey guys, Cameron with CBM Reviews here. I'm in that awkward space again, but I did want to come and give you a Doom Patrol update. It's been a while, I know. I would have had a review for 2 episodes last weekend, but I was at Fan Expo in Dallas and I was able to film a few panels. If you want to check those out, click right up here. This will send you to the playlist where I have a panel from Phil Lamar, I have a panel from some Teen Titans people like Greg Sipes and Tara Strong, and a Q&A from Zachary Levi. If you want to check those out, go ahead and click that up there. But until then, I've got not just 2, but 3 Doom Patrol episode reviews for you, so hang tight. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. It means a whole lot to me that you are interested in what I have to think about this series. If you are interested in watching some more episodes like this, or maybe even movie reviews, or even convention footage like I mentioned earlier, click that subscribe button. And if you want to know as soon as I post a video, hit that notification bell. You'll know as soon as I upload. So as I said before, I'm reviewing 3 Doom Patrol episodes. The first one is France's Control. This has 2 separate stories in it. One where Cyborg is kind of dealing with some stuff with Jane. While Jane is back on this mission to find the chief, Cyborg is bemoaning some things because Grid, it seems like, is taking over his natural body and replacing it with robotics, and he's not exactly sure what he should do. And Jane is like, get over yourself, we gotta find the chief. On the flip side, Cliff, Robot Man, is with Rita, and they are in some backwoods place. I believe it's Florida. It's been a while since I watched the episode, but this is the time for Cliff to actually meet his daughter. Bump, who was his old road crew manager, has died trying to find Francis, this giant alligator, and the alligator did him in. And so this is his chance to actually meet his daughter for the first time since the accident and kind of confront his old friend from beyond the grave, even though that's not really a thing that he was doing, just kind of like closing some old doors. I think the way that Cliff handled the reunion with his daughter was impactful. It was meaningful, and even though he didn't really get that reunion that he was expecting, he was able to get some closure that he wasn't expecting. And I really liked the way that they did it, even if they didn't get the happy ending of sorts. Cliff was able to see that his daughter was taken care of in his absence, and not out of any kind of spite or pride, but because Bump, his road manager, actually wanted to do right by Cliff. He wanted that kid to grow up in a loving family, and he put all of the things that he wanted to do on the back burner to take care of the kid. It was quite heartwarming. But in this episode, going back to the other one, Cyborg is abducted by the Bureau of Normalcy, and so now he's taken to this place called the Ant Farm, and this leads us to episode 2, technically episode 12, entitled Cyborg Patrol. And this is where the members try to jailbreak Cyborg out of the Ant Farm, which is pretty much where the Bureau of Normalcy keep all their freaks and everything, and whenever they need somebody to go and perform a mission, they pull from these people and try to get the job done. So Cyborg's in here, and he is going through some things with his mind. His system seems to be malfunctioning, and he meets this guy who's his next door neighbor, who seems really chill, which we'll actually come to here in the next episode. But the Doom Patrol, or actually they're not technically a team yet, but they break in by disguising themselves as captors, and they get Cyborg out. But before they're able to do that, Mr. Nobody fools Cyborg into almost killing his father. His father was trying to lead the jailbreak because he was actually a former operative of the Bureau for Normalcy. And even though it was about to be successful, Cyborg is somewhat fooled into thinking that his father was behind the whole thing where the nanites would take over his natural body, and he's enraged and beats his dad to almost death. And Mr. Nobody lauds over his accomplishment. He's like, I didn't even make you do the beating. You did that yourself. I just made this fake video. And it really shows to the menace that is Mr. Nobody. I did enjoy that little twist at the end. But this leads to the third episode, which is Flex Control. And this is where we are properly introduced to Flex Mentallo, who is somebody from the 1960s and was abducted by the Bureau of Normalcy. And even though he was mentioned in a few episodes prior, specifically, I believe he was mentioned from Danny Patrol, and then his name kept on popping up as somebody that they were trying to find because he was the key to helping find the chief. We hadn't technically met him, even though we had. He was the bearded guy that was Cyborg's neighbor. So they bust Flex out, they bring him back to Doom Manor, and he has some amnesia. He doesn't know exactly who he is, and even though they try to jog his memory, it doesn't quite work right. On the other side, Cyborg and his dad are transported to the hospital, and he's watching his dad. His dad is in stable condition, but Cyborg feels an immense amount of guilt. So he stays with his dad, and Rita finally confronts the nightmare that she has been trying to evade this entire season. We finally figure out what it is thanks to a conversation to a patient at the hospital, played magnificently by Ed Asner. And so she finally comes to terms with what she's dealing with. Larry and the entity living inside him finally come to terms with what they're dealing with, and now instead of it feeling like a parasitic relationship, it's more of a symbiotic relationship, which is much better for the both of them. And then Cliff and Jane have a moment where she's keeping walls up, but Cliff finally breaks down. He apologizes, even though he was trying to help, and it seems like she finally accepts that Cliff, despite giving this almost false sense of hope, actually had her best intentions in mind. So now they are a unified front, ready to go find the chief. And Mr. Nobody trolls us with a fourth wall break and says, finally, after 13 episodes, we're about to get to where we want to be. A superhero show where you have heroes fighting villains. And even though I definitely agree, I do appreciate the slow burn that it took to build up all the character flaws and strengths to get us to this point. And I thought there was 2 more episodes. It looks like there's just 1 more episode in this season. I'm very excited to get to that point, and I'll be giving that episode review as well as a season review whenever that comes out. Overall, this was a very nice 2, maybe 3 episode arc, even though there was one moment that gave me kind of like it reminded me of Avengers Infinity War, but the difference being I had no connection to a specific character, so it didn't really affect me like it would have in a different setting. But that's just my opinion on these 3 episodes. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. You enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends, and as always, this is Cameron with CBM Reviews. We'll see you next time.